Hello there. This presentation will just take a couple of minutes, and it's just extra information which I wasn't able to fit into the 7 minutes I had yesterday. I'm actually doing something called a screencast here. It's where I have a program on my laptop and it records what I do on the screen. And it's kind of interesting. You might want to consider using this technology yourselves. It's very easy to use, downloadable off the internet. It allows you to do presentations, put them on YouTube, and then you can either send them to your students for revision purposes to recap on what you have been telling them, or even before the lesson itself, you could actually send them a short film saying, watch this before you come to the class, and already some of your teaching's been done. It's quite useful if, say, you're away for a few days. You can actually add that as a cover tool. So this technology of doing screencasting is being used by teachers at the moment. It's known as flipped classroom. It really isn't too hard to do. In fact, you already have the capability of doing it. Now you have an email account which is related to Gmail. It totally dovetails into that. Okay, so let's get on with this quick extra information. Just to remind you, Tech&Teach was the name of the course outline I said yesterday. I'm just going to flick through this. I hope you realise that these are groups which are simultaneously taking place in Malaga, Madrid and Seville. It's been brought together actually virtually. We have a website. Each monthly session will have films coming out of each session, generating photographs, input, and we're actually going to coordinate all that onto a website which everyone involved in Tech&Teach can look at and make reference to. There's also Twitter where we can share ideas on using a certain hashtag, which I'll show you in a minute. Free schools working on similar ideas, all at different starting points. Madrid is ahead in some ways because it's started with technology right from the off. Its infrastructure's slightly more advanced as well and more secure. Sevilla, a little bit the same, started with technology. And Malaga, fantastic systems in place, but most of it's paper-based, and we're struggling with some ICT issues as well. So different starting points, but all heading in the same direction. Yeah, there's a picture of Darren just here. Darren Gibb from Madrid, loads of experience in using it. In fact, I'll just pay testament to him. He got this off the ground. Me and Mike were talking about this from an inset we had about a year ago. But once we brought Darren in, he's driven this from Madrid really, and me and Mike have just helped mould some of his ideas into a format which I think is really going to be excellent. Yeah, Jim Showcross has supported us all the way, and now Melissa's on board here. It's really nice to see the senior leaders getting behind this. But the ethos still remains. There's no seniority in this group. I'm certainly in no way a line manager of this. I'm just a very much enthusiastic person. I'm doing it voluntarily. I'm not getting paid for this, but I firmly believe it's going to be fantastic. So if you do choose to join, it's something we're steering together. I'm leading to begin with, but who knows in the future, someone might come through and just want to take over some of those duties. Anyway, that's to be discussed later on. Clickety-click. Excuse me. I won't go through the ethos behind it. I will pay testament to one thing about catching up. This was not meant as any kind of criticism of what we're doing at the moment. I'm just saying, back in the UK, where there's a lot more ICT facilities, a lot more teachers using computers in their classroom, communicating on it much more readily. Look, we can get ideas from them. And I just love the idea that we're going to probably be doing our own stuff, finding our own technology to use, our own websites, etc. And we're designing what we want here, really. Society is changing. I made that point. The iPhone, tablets, it is changing. Madrid's Edmodo experience is incredible. Anyway, that will come in the future. Over here was the Twitter point about sharing on these certain hashtags. And there is a St George's hashtag there. If you are a Twitter user and you want to say something about Tech&Teach, if you put that hashtag into your message, anyone who is following that hashtag will be able to see what you're writing. Quickly, I want to get to the calendar outline. I've got a horrible picture of me again. So excuse this. It does make you sick, this present. It is like a roller coaster ride, isn't it? pause to say hello to Oliver. Wonderful. Won't probably go back to that one. I wasn't trying to be a preacher here. Please don't get me wrong there. Just saying, technology is moving quickly. It's a good idea if we get on board with it. Join Tech&Teach and you'll certainly be up to speed with it. So we will be starting next Thursday, the 14th. I'll quickly flick to this. This is sent through on this email as well. It's just a brief outline of what we'll be looking at in the first session. Things you'll need: coffee cup, and the rest of it you can read through. But we are looking at introducing you to Tech&Teach, and then we're going to get on with actually web design for teachers, okay? How you can quickly set up a website in the coming few weeks and actually start using it with your students for learning purposes and teaching purposes. So I hope you realise each session there will always be some technical input which you can kind of brainstorm how you're going to use it, actually get hands-on, practice it, troubleshoot any problems. We can all work together to help each other learn. And then from the session, I think the real action will take place with us all communicating and sharing our experiences. But in 10 minutes, I think I can show you how easy it is to get going on using technology. In a kind of more modern sense. The first session is really explaining the whole outline for our course as well. All right, so that's the text to this email. Let's get back to just a brief outline. In December, we're looking to have 2 meetings. I believe we are going to have a morning meeting. This after school format can be odious for many people, and I want a trial before Christmas, a morning session. So I think our next meeting will take place at the second week in December in the morning, and we'll be looking actually at Google Drive, which is related to your Gmail or St George's email login. There's so much stuff you could be using now that you have that password and login, and of course that does relate to YouTube. I think in that session we'll be looking at the ICT policy, which Melissa was referring to yesterday as well. The last session before Christmas, just to give people some things to play around with at Christmas time. I haven't planned detailed analysis of Edmodo, but I want to introduce you to it and see if any of you want to start trialling it with some of your classes. Maybe we can have a coordinated approach to it. Let's just see what it's like for us here in Malaga. January, see Twitter for Teachers. I mean, I say Twitter for Teachers, that's actually how you can use Twitter in your classrooms with your students. Fantastic fun and incredibly productive way of sharing opinion and ideas. It's like not just a glorified whiteboard session, but it's really amazing what you can do with Twitter in the classroom. I think also what's vitally important behind that session, you're almost teaching people how to use these new technologies safely. In February, we are, as a group, going to be presenting the whole school CPD. And I say whole school, it's primary, secondary joined together. We'll have a follow-up in March, although I haven't put it in there. We will have just to evaluate where that went, and then plan our next session for April. And it would be lovely to see April, our little group, expanding out as we infuse others with the use of this technology. And then finally, the kind of celebration end in the last week when we're not actually teaching students anymore. We hope to get in the kind of happy buses, like the march to Washington all those years ago. We're off to Madrid to have our Teach Meet, Tech&Teach face-to-face sharing and just bring together this great project from Malaga, Madrid and Seville's point of view. Roquetas will be online as well, not to offend our colleagues out there, but again, we're all starting at different points. Okay, so really that's all the extra information I wanted to give you, which I wasn't able to tell you about yesterday before Cheryl cruelly threw a teddy bear at my head. It is important, I think, that you realise this is going to be a really innovative group to be a part of. It's I think going to make a big difference to some of us as teachers here. I know my last year and a half in using more and more technology with my students has been really rewarding, not just for me, I hope for them, but has opened my eyes to I think some enormous potential. Okay, enough for me. I hope you have a good evening.